early 1960 or late 1959, met this kind of creature that I had not seen before, this sort of a brilliant, illuminated face with this khadi-clad sari, feet tucked under her on a very kind of stiff sofa, and diamonds sparkling in her nose and in her ears, and talking a great game of development, politics, grassroots, the whole works.
When she started doing many of these things, they were really very unusual for economists to do. You know, women's stuff was seen as this little ghetto. So she was unafraid of getting into that and turning an analytical vision onto that. And then she was unafraid of getting people together who otherwise would have very, very different opinions, which I think was remarkable.
Her whole philosophy of women's work is that women's work actually can raise the tempo and turn around the economy.
You often forget that she's an economist because she's so much a non-straitjacket kind of economist feminist. You know, the economics does not always inform her feminism. You might almost say that it was too early for that kind of writing. But I have always known her as somebody who is fascinated by the stories that women tell.
She was also excited because an important thing was the actual visibility of work and then the organizing part. Women coming together, women being able to come together and voice their concerns.
We started, we were in a house in a little room, which was the library, desk, one typewriter. There was one bed, lot of tiny books, including our fiction books. One cabinet which had some files, anybody would come, we were moving into the drawing room to talk to people if there was any, you know. So it was just tiny, and we would share our lunch, Malti and myself, her secretary, her lemon rice, and she would love whatever North Indian khana I would bring.
सबसे पहले तो क्योंकि मेरे बाल बहुत बड़े हैं और उस समय तो और भी बड़े थे, तो उन्होंने बहुत केवल बाल ही बहुत देर तक, वो क्योंकि मैं 2 चोटी करती थी उस समय, तो बहुत देर तक चोटी ही देखती रही हूँ मेरी. मैं हमेशा मना करती थी कि नहीं, मुझे नहीं करना, क्योंकि यहाँ तो पूरा अंग्रेज़ी का माहौल है और मुझे तो बिल्कुल अंग्रेज़ी आती नहीं है. तो उन्होंने कहा कि यदि हमें गाँव में काम करना है तो उसके लिए हिंदी की बहुत ज़रूरत है.
She cares about the Gandhian means of bringing people together. The whole idea of taking power and money to the villages, to the people. And then as a tool for influencing policy. So she was the link, really, the initial link.
With people like her, with people like Veena Di and others, they worked at grassroots level. They all had that connection. They worked at the national level with the government, and yet they were not averse to confronting the state when it became necessary. And they worked at the international level.
Neoliberal patriarchal economists, policymakers in government, who are usually, the enemy, and who we come and we're all very aggressive and etc. And she will come and be very charming and very open and just try and keep presenting a point in a very pleasant manner.
I remember feeling at times, what is she going on about, and why should one engage with this kind of dialogue when you know that agenda is not actually going to get you anywhere.
She doesn't feel offended or affronted, because many times, people are not listening.
Inside, she doesn't suffer fools gladly, but you would never know it.
Medha, she would always start with that phrase, and then she would go on, very, very pinpointedly, but very emotionally. She's like a flowing person anyway, so the meetings also always, flew through both of us. She would be herself sensitized by individual events and experiences, and that would get reflected into her presentations. That then mobilizes people, explains the movement's viewpoint, answers the critical questions. And because she was associated with Lakshmi Chandji, it was a double impact agenda always.
एक दिन ऐसा हुआ, हमारे सचिव, उनका नाम था राधा कृष्ण, वो अपने केबिन में बैठे थे, मुझे किसी सिलसिले में बुलाया, तो उनका बाहर लक्ष्मी और देवकी बैठी हैं, उनको बुला लाओ। तो मैं बाहर निकल के आया, मुझे कोई दो महिलाएं बैठी नहीं दिखी, तो एक पुरुष और एक महिला, दोनों बहुत भव्य थे। अब इन दोनों ने चौंकाया, इन्होंने कहा राधा ने बुलाया है। मैं हमेशा राधा कृष्ण जी जानता था उनको, तो मैंने कहा कि तीन महिलाएं हैं, बड़ा अच्छा संगम हो रहा है इनका।
I remember a conversation with Devaki once. She was being filmed. She was asked about her feminism, and I think she was just touching 70. Devaki launched into this amazing sensual description of being made love to by her lover, the man who became her husband, and how that revealed the woman in her and how she felt completely herself.
They were just so completely besotted with each other in a very evident way. Later, as we grew up, we discovered the whole embattled history. She was almost banished from the family. One keeps hearing different bits from different people about how someone smuggled her somewhere, and then they had this meeting somewhere in Kautilya Marg, and then picking her up from Miranda College and then driving off for an ice cream and things like that.
When we grew up as kids, we had two things happening. We had our mother at home waiting for us, homework, food, rest and all that. And we had a beehive of activity going on with a lot of people, and there was a lot of buzz.
I think this was like once a week kind of ritual that we would all gather there, and then she'd play the Tanpura, and then she'd sing, all these amazing Meera bhajans and Tyagaraja Kirtanas and so on. And it was fantastic. I mean, we sometimes tried to sing along with her, and that again was mixed results.
Dinner table at our house was that it was not just the foursome. So one day you would have K.N. Raj or an Amartya Sen or Professor Raj Krishna. Tadka ki zarurat hi nahi thi khane mein. So we had very mild food, but the tadka came by way of what happened in the course of the day.
They would both carry their work home, and there'd be sort of simultaneous parenting happening, and then also a typist, typing away. That was like the soundtrack of, the childhood growing up.
I cannot open a computer even today. My mother has iPads, laptops, Blackberries, and she may carry two things at a time.
Dictaphone, laptops, this, that, and she's always like, oh, this has come out, that's come out. I want to calm down here.
It's in my wedding album because that was a picture that I have of Devaki and John dancing, and I used to call it the full bride's collar with the Sarvodaya worker. It's a fantastic picture. At some Roosevelt House function, John in a suit and Devaki in her khadi sari. I'm sorry you can't see the diamonds twinkling, but they were there too.